Hey guys, I got a new video for you today, and we're going to be taking a look at a new flashlight from Wuben. And I got to tell you, Wuben has been coming out with a lot of really awesome flashlights lately. This one here is actually one that I'm glad that they came out with to kind of round out the collection. You know, some of the flashlights have been smaller, kind of keychain lights or smaller lights, some larger lights. And then now this is a headlamp. So this, I think, rounds out their collection really, really nice, especially because this looks to be part of their easy carry light collection. So I was really interested when they reached out and asked if I wanted to go ahead and check it out to see it for myself. Now, first things first, and I got to get this out of the way, I am a sucker for packaging, and I love this packaging. When I took this light out of the box and I saw the packaging, it blew me away. Normally, you know, with a lot of headlamps, some companies will just kind of throw the headlamp right in the middle. Maybe it's like a clamshell design or something like that. This one, they have this face right here, and where the headlamp would be worn on your head is the headlamp on the face. So I thought that was really, really cool. Again, is it necessary? No, but, you know, big points to Wuben. In case you guys are interested in seeing some of the other lights that I've reviewed from them lately, I'll go ahead and leave links to those videos at the end of this video. And also, if you're interested in checking out the H4 here, I'll leave links to the Wuben website below where you guys can go ahead and purchase them. Now, Wuben is an awesome company. They put a lot of thought process into their flashlights, and it definitely shows. And I'm hoping that this one here is, you know, no different than all those other ones. Now, this is going to be kind of like an initial unboxing and impressions. I'll go through some of the features and stuff like that just so you guys can see what you're getting when you purchase an H4. So from the packaging here, you have Wuben at the top here. It's telling you that's part of the Easy Carry Light H4, and then it's telling you that it's 800 max output on the lumens. So pretty bright for a headlamp, which is really, really nice. On the side right here, it's also going to tell you that this particular one is the black color. I believe it is available in a couple of other different colors. So in case you guys have a particular color that you like, go ahead and check out that link below to their site so you can pick the one that you want. And then it'll give you some information on the light here on the side. And then on the back, it's going to run you through pretty much everything that you need to know as far as outputs and colors and run times and things like that. So if you guys want to pause that and check it out for yourself, you can go ahead and do that. Now they put a little pull tab right here, which makes it really easy to kind of get into the box, which is nice. So we'll go ahead and open this up and see what all we have inside. Wuben does a really nice with the packaging. Again, with this one here being no different. I love, love, love that face right there in the front. And this slides out. Let's see what all is in here. So at the very bottom here, it looks like you have a user manual. I always recommend, especially with flashlights or anything electronic, that you do read through your user manual. At least check out some of it, especially with newer flashlights that have so many features and, you know, ways of getting to the different outputs and things like that. I would definitely recommend that you do. Wuben does a good job with their manuals because they do give you some pictures and stuff like that so you guys can follow. And then it gives you all the operational modes and stuff like that. So that's really nice. So we will set that off to the side. And then over here, you have everything else. You have a little plastic thing that comes off. And then right at the front here, you have this. It says headlight strap installation. So this is going to be the strap for your headlight. So again, this is the black color, but it looks like it includes a white head strap, which is pretty interesting. So we'll see how that goes. But I like the fact that they do include your instructions right there in case you don't know how to put it on. And because this light is rechargeable, they do include the USB-A to USB-C charging cable, so you can go ahead and charge up the battery when you go to use the headlamp here. So let's go ahead and take out the headlamp here. And at first glance, I can tell you that the light itself, the housing, this part right here, was a little bit bigger than I expected it to be, but I like the fact that they went with a slightly larger size, because a lot of times if you make them too small, and you put it in a pack, it tends to fall to the bottom and it's kind of hard to find and stuff like that. So at least this way you'll be able to have a good grasp on it whenever it is that you need it. From first impressions, so it does say Wuben H4 right in the front right there. It looks like you have two LEDs. I believe one is going to be a spotlight and the other one's going to be a floodlight. So you know, depending on what you're going to need it for, they do have you covered in those. It looks like there's another LED right there in the middle. We'll take a look at that a little bit later. Really nice construction. In the back right here, you have this little vent. And then right here is the spot where you're going to feed your head strap on there. So we'll do that in a second. And then it does tell you here, says, please remove the battery installation sheet before using it. Okay, so let's go ahead and take this sticker off of here. And okay, so you have this little gate right here, which in my experience with using other headlamps and stuff like that, usually in order to access the battery, yep, there it is, that, you know, just bring that up, and then it opens up. And as you guys can see, you do have a little plastic tab right there, so you want to go ahead and remove that. Basically what that's doing is it's stopping the battery from making contact with the light itself, so it doesn't turn on or waste in transit. So a lot of flashlight companies do that. So let's go ahead and believe this battery is removable, if I'm not mistaken, because, there it is, all right, because you actually charge the battery itself, all right? So here it is. So you actually charge the battery itself. So that's where the charger, you connect it there, and then you charge the battery itself. Now, I'm not sure if they have extra batteries on the site, so if you guys are interested, feel free to check out that link and see. If this is something that you're going to be using often, the H4 here, I would recommend that you pick up another battery. But I believe that you also do have the ability to use, and yep, there it is, AAA batteries also. So there's the picture. It's going to show you how to put those AAA batteries in there. So that is really awesome because, again, if you only have this one and you're off charging it, but you still need to use your headlamp, you can go ahead and throw some AAA batteries in there and you'll still be able to use it. Now, let me take a look in the back right here, because a lot of times they will tell you, depending on the type of battery that you use, how much output and stuff like that. It doesn't look like they're sectioning it off that way, but just know that sometimes that is the case. But once you have that battery charged, you can go ahead and throw it back in there, and it looks like it goes which way is positive? Yeah, positive over here. So as you guys can see, it's got a pictogram of the 3 AAA batteries, and it tells you positive, negative, positive that way. But then on the outside, it's got like a larger box, and that's to represent the battery itself. So if you see you have a positive in the top corner there, it is, and then a negative down there, and then the same thing on the battery here, positive, negative, so that way you know which way to orient the battery when you put it back in there. And then you can go ahead and close that up. Let me just double check to make sure that everything is in place. Yes, everything looks like to be in place. So it snaps closed and you are ready to go. Now the back portion right here is where you're going to go ahead and attach your head strap. And then the cool thing about this is it also articulates, so you can actually move it down or up depending on how you want to go ahead and have that light pointed. So if you want it to point straight ahead, or if you want it to point down because you're maybe walking, or a little bit angled down because you're reading something, you can go ahead and do that. Now I can tell you that I like the fact that it takes a little bit of effort in order to do that, because sometimes if the light has the capability to do that, but they make it too flimsy, for lack of a better word, it might fall down as you're maybe walking or jogging or something like that. So it does take a little bit of strength to go ahead and rotate that, which is really, really nice. So let's go ahead and before we put the strap, we're going to take a look at some of the different features and outputs on the light itself. Alright guys, let's go through some of the different modes that the H4 has. So first things first, you do have 2 LEDs in the front right here. The LED on this side is going to be your floodlight. The LED on this side is going to be your spotlight. Floodlight is going to give you about 80 degrees of light versus the spotlight is going to give you 10 to 20 degrees of light. Then in the middle, you do have a red LED, which has a couple of different options. And then underneath that, you have a motion sensor, or 2 motion sensors, I should say, which actually allows you to turn the light on or off with swiping your hand in front of it. I'll go ahead and show you guys that a little bit later. And then on the bottom, you do have a dynamic breathing LED indicator, which you're going to use when you have the motion sensors activated. So one of the things that I really do like is that they made the 2 buttons completely different. One is a circle and the other one is a bunch of little dots. So that's really cool because again at night, if you're going to go ahead and activate the light, you can feel for it and know which one is which one. So I'm holding the light this way. On this side is going to be your spotlight. On this side is going to be your floodlight. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the different outputs. Basically all you have to do is you press the button once and the light is going to come on. So this is your spotlight, which is more of like a white light. You do have 3 different outputs. You have a low, medium, and high. When the light is on, press and hold, and it's going to cycle through the different modes. So low, medium, high, back to low, medium, high. And then when you get to what you want, just release, and then that'll be your light. If you press it once, it's going to go ahead and turn off. If you wait a couple seconds and you press it again, the light is going to come back on, which is really nice. It does have a memory. And then if you press it again and hold, it'll cycle through that, and then one more time to turn it off. Now on the other side, the round button is going to be your floodlight. Press it once, it's going to come on. You're going to see that's more of a yellowish light. Again, this is going to be your floodlight, about 80 degrees. So if you press and hold, you're going to get the same thing, cycle through the different outputs. So low, medium, high. And then high is 300 lumens on both the spotlight, the spotlight and the floodlight. Your high is going to be 300 lumens. So if you press and hold again, it'll cycle back down to low, and then if you press it, it'll turn off. Now, in order to get to your red light, basically all you have to do is press either one of the buttons. You press and hold from the light being off. So if you press and hold, there it is. That is your red light. So with the red light on, your constant on, that's going to be 15 lumens. And then if you want to go ahead and access the other features with the red light, all you have to do is press it once. And then that's going to go to a beacon. So there's your beacon light. And then if you press it one more time, it's going to go to an SOS. All right. And if you press it one more time, it's going to go back to your constants. Now, the really cool thing is that no matter what button you press out of the two, it's always going to cycle through, and that makes it really, really easy to use the light because, again, all you have to do is learn how to get to the different outputs and then just press any of the buttons. And then obviously if you press and hold, that'll turn the red light off. Now, in order to get to your turbo mode, all you have to do is press the light on and then double click either one of them. And that's going to give you the turbo, and that's 800 lumens. And what it actually does is it turns on both the spotlight and the floodlight. So the turbo is going to be a mixture of the white light and the yellow light, as you guys can see right there. And then once you're done, you can go ahead and press any of the buttons and it'll turn it off. Now, in order to get to that motion activation, basically all you have to do is turn the light on, either one of them, and then press and hold both of the buttons for 1.5 seconds. So if you do that, you'll see that the light at the bottom is now kind of like a breathing motion. And now if I swipe my hand in front of the light, it'll actually turn off or turn on, turn off, and turn on. So really, really cool. Now, it's always going to turn on or off in whatever mode you were using it. So right now it's in spotlight, but if you want it to go to floodlight, then all you have to do is press the button for flood. And now it goes to the floodlight, and then it's still in that motion activation where you can turn it off and on. So that is really, really cool. And then if you want to go ahead and get out of it, just go ahead and turn the light off. As you guys can see, the blue light turned off, and now you're not in that mode anymore. Now, they do recommend that if you're not going to be using it, don't just swipe it and put it away, because it's still going to be in that mode, the motion sensor mode. So if you're going to not be using it, or if you're going to be charging it or something like that, make sure you take it out of the mode, and it's just as easy as pressing the button and turning it off. So that is a lot of really, really awesome options on this flashlight. Wuben did a really great job of packing pretty much everything that you're going to need. I love the fact that they included that motion sensor, because sometimes, you might need to use a light, really quickly, and then, you might have gloves on or something like that. So all you have to do is kind of swipe your hand if you made sure that you put it into that mode, and that way you don't have to take off your gloves or fumble around with the buttons trying to get to them or something like that. Now the buttons are nice and recessed, so I don't foresee it coming on inadvertently if you have it in a bag or something like that, so you're not going to have to worry about it. So let's go ahead and put the strap on here so we can see what that looks like, and we'll take a closer look at the flashlight itself. Alright, so again, the headlight strap here comes with some directions here. It's telling you what it is that you need to do. You want to go ahead and have the non-slip silicone grip. So one side is going to have some silicone grip that's going to be non-slip. That needs to face in. So in other words, it's going to make contact with your head. And then you just put it underneath each one of the little pillars here. So if you can see, there is a cutout where that's going to go into. So let's go ahead and take it out of here. And as I mentioned, this is a white strap. I'm not sure if all the lights come with a white strap, because again, this is the black case model. But again, this one came with the white, which is nice because, it makes it easier to find if you have it inside of a bag. So what you're going to want to do is, if you see, it says Wuben right here. So you can put it either way if you want, but the silicone strap is towards the bottom, so that's the way that they recommend that you put it in. So basically all you do is you feed it towards the top there, and then you feed it on the bottom. And then you do the same thing on the other side here. Feed it towards the top, and then feed it towards the bottom. And there it is. Now it is installed. Now you do have, the ability to go ahead and adjust this, to fit your head, especially if you're going to be wearing a beanie or a hat or something like that. You want to make sure that it is comfortable. So let me go ahead and turn the camera on. I will put it on so you guys can see what it looks like when it's wearing. Alright, so let me go ahead and put it on. So usually what I'll do is I'll center it right here on my head. And then I'll go ahead and tighten it up, and it gives you the ability to do that, which is nice. Now, as I mentioned, the light itself, at initial impressions, seem to be a little bit bigger, but it's not any heavier than I wouldn't be able to wear it for a prolonged amount of time, which is really nice. Now, it's a good size, so I am able to kind of get to all the different options, so I know that the different buttons. So again, the one on the right, the round one, here's my floodlight. The one on the one on the left is my floodlight. The one on the right is going to be my spotlight. If I need to angle the light down because, again, I'm walking around or something like that, I can go ahead and do that. If I need to angle it a little bit more because I'm reading something, I can do that. And again, a very intuitive controls, just press and turn on. If I need to turn it off, press and turn on the other one. And then again, if I go into that motion sensor, all I have to do is kind of wave my hand in front of it and the light will turn on and off. So very, very comfortable, very utilitarian. I feel that everybody should have a headlamp as part of their kit. Again, sometimes you have to go completely hands-free, and it doesn't mean that you're only going to get a headlamp if you're out camping or something like that. You could be working at home, the lights could go out and you're doing stuff at home, and you might need your hands to move stuff around or something like that. A headlamp comes in handy very, very well, and especially something like this that has all the different options that you're going to need: flood, spot, warm light, cool light, red lights, blinking light, beacons, the ability to do motion sensor. So as I mentioned, if you have your hands, you have gloves on or something like that, or you just don't want to reach up or anything like that, all you have to do is kind of swipe your hand, turn that light on or off, and you're ready to go. So I would definitely recommend that if you're in the market for a headlamp, or even if you're not, and you've been thinking about it, and you want to check it out, check out the link below to Wuben's website, where you can go ahead and see the H4 here in a bunch of different colors. Pick the one that you want and go ahead and get it as part of your kit. So there it is. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Thanks.